In this lecture, I'll be discussing the more technical aspect of the sum frequency generation. Okay, so this is a more general discussion. So once you discuss sum frequency generation, then we can discuss all other things. There is a difference frequency generation, the second harmonic generation, so on. Even you can go to the explanation of third harmonic generation, etc. Okay, so till now, what we have discussed is the different and nonlinear process phenomenologically. Okay, so we have just discussed the phenomena and with very simple mathematics. Now we are going into the deep of the subject. Okay, so we'll be going into the we'll be discussing the governing equation. So from the governing equation, we'll try to show the sum frequency generation, and finally that will lead to the new conditions to generate such phenomena. This is called phase matching. That is, I already mentioned earlier, the phase matching is one important aspect not to generate such nonlinear phenomena. Okay, so we can consider some frequency generation in a lossless nonlinear optical medium involving a collimated, monochromatic, and continuous input waves. Okay, so consider some frequency generation in a lossless nonlinear optical medium involving collimated, monochromatic, continuous input wave. Okay, so schematically we can draw this process like below. So we'll have a nonlinear crystal. Okay, so for the time being, let us assume it has second order susceptibility or second order nonlinearity. So in which we'll be sending two frequencies, two collimated frequencies, omega 1 and omega 2, and we're getting a new frequency, that is omega 3, which would be equal to omega 1 plus omega 2. Okay, so for the time being, we can denote the amplitude, the electric field corresponding to the omega 2 as E2, and the electric field corresponding to, okay, so both I have put as omega 2. So this can be right as omega 1. And frequency corresponding to the omega 1, we can denote by symbol E1 tilde. And the frequency corresponding to the omega 3, we can denote by symbol E3 tilde. Okay, so this is the process phenomenologically. So if you insert and two collimated beam, two laser beam of different frequencies, then it is possible to generate the some frequency. Now this is not the only possibility. There are many other possibilities. There can be possibility of difference frequency generation. There is also possibility of the second harmonic generation and so on. Okay, now this electric field, so the E1, E2, E3 are the electric field component of different frequency. Now each of this component has to satisfy the differential equation. So that we have discussed in the last class. And since it is a collimated beam, it is directed along one particular direction. And uh, let us denote the direction of propagation as Z. Okay, and since the direction is only along one direction, we can convert, or we can simplify our three-dimensional differential equation into a one-dimensional differential equation. So first of all, we can write down what is the differential equation satisfied by the electric field component. or the wave equation satisfied by the electric field component of frequency omega n. So that is we have already discussed about in general the electric field we can write as sum over n the electric field of omega n. Okay, E n omega n. So we can write the differential equation for this E n, and the three-dimensional differential equation is given by minus del square E n tilde, where E n is only function of omega n, plus epsilon r1 of omega n. Since epsilon r is a linear permittivity, the linear relative permittivity, divided by c square dou square E n tilde by dot t square equal minus 1 by epsilon 0 c square dou square the nonlinear part of polarization of nth component, the omega nth component, divided by dot t square. Okay, so this we can refer your the last lecture. In the last lecture, we have derived this expression. Okay, so the each of this the frequency component has to satisfy this differential equation. So obviously E1, E2, and E3 has to satisfy this equation. Okay, now okay, so then we can write down the differential equation for E3. Okay, so for the beginning, we can assume the uh, the the crystal is not having nonlinear properties. The crystal is linear. So if the crystal is linear, then this PNL would be 0. Okay, and this differential equation has to be satisfied by E3. So or E1, E2, and E3 has to satisfy one-dimensional the above wave equation. The above equation in one dimension. Okay, why one dimension? Because the wave is propagating along z direction. So for E3 we can write minus d square E3 by, okay, not d square, we cannot write E3 is a function of both space and time, so it should be a partial derivative. So dou square E3 dou square E3 by dou z square plus epsilon r1 of omega 3 divided by c square dou square E3 by dot t square equal to 1 by epsilon 0 c square dou square PNL 3 by dot t square. Okay. Now, okay, so in order to get the solution for E3, so as a starting point, what we can do is we can set this P3 NL is 0, and later we can introduce it. Okay, so in order to find the functional form of E3 or the mathematical structure of E3, so first we set P3 NL is 0. So that is the material is linear. So just assume the material is linear. So if you assume the material is linear, the equation become minus dou square E3 by dou z square plus epsilon R1 of omega 3 by c square dou square E3 by dou t square equal to 0. So this is symbol is called as the wave equation, or it's known as the one-dimensional wave equation of electromagnetic wave. Okay, and the velocity also is very directly we are getting from here, with the speed of the wave can be identified as c by square root of epsilon r1 of omega 3. So therefore, this quantity would be equal to refractive index, because speed can be written as c by refractive index, and therefore this quantity would be refractive index. So the refractive index of the material we can denote by symbol n3. That would be equal to square root of the linear part of the relative permittivity. Okay, so these are our differential equations, the wave equation, and we already know the solution for the wave equation. The solution for the wave equation, we can write E3 tilde is a function of z and t, can be written as the amplitude A3 e raised to I K3z minus omega 3t plus its complex conjugate. Okay, so this is the case if you set, sorry, so if you set the nonlinear part is 0, this would be the solution. Okay, so actually the first equation, we can put some equation number for this. Okay, this is actually the original equation, but in this original equation, if you put the nonlinear part is 0, then we'll get the equation for the linear media. And for the linear media, the electric field, mathematical structure of the electric field can be simply write in this particular form. Okay, now if you add this nonlinear part, what would happen? Now, if you add this nonlinear part, the structure, the mathematical structure of the mathematical form of E3 will remain same, provided if this quantity is very small. So if this nonlinear component is small, then the solution would remain same, almost remain same, but there will be some difference. What would happen is the amplitude will become the function of z. Okay, so that we can note here. So if PNL or P3NL is non-zero, but it is small, okay, then the mathematical form of E3 will remain same, except A3 become, the amplitude become function of z. So if P3NL is non-zero, then how will you write the solution for the some frequency component of the electric field? This E3 of zt, we can write A3, which is a function of z, e raised to I K3z minus omega 3t plus complex conjugate. Okay, so we have got the mathematical form of the some frequency component of the electric field. Okay, so it is taking the almost the same structure of the free electromagnetic wave. Apart from that, there is only one difference: the amplitude now become a function of z. So this is the important point. So now hereafter we'll be using this form for my E3. So what is E3? E3 is the electric field component of the some frequency generation. Okay, so it is a frequency, it is the electric field of omega 1 plus omega 2, and that is denoted by symbol E3. Okay, now which is the source term here? The source term is PNL. the source term PNL of 3. How can we write that? So this P3 PNL3 is a function of, again, is a function of Z and T. This can be written as P3 e raised to minus I omega 3t plus complex conjugate. Now, what is the expression for P3? Okay, so in order to know the expression for P3, you have to just recall our discussion about some frequency generation. So I will just paste that image. Okay, so if you have two frequency omega 1 and omega 2 incident on the nonlinear crystal, then the second order polarization will have many frequency components. So in general, it can be written as P of omega n e raised to I omega n t. But this P of omega n, it can have the second harmonic of omega 1, the second harmonic of omega 2. There can be some frequency generation, difference frequency generation, and there can be a constant term. Okay, and it is identified that the component of the some frequency generation is 2 epsilon 0 chi 2 e1 e2. Okay, so that is the important point we have to mention. So therefore, the P3 that we have written here, so P3 that we have written here, this P3 is nothing but 2 epsilon 0 chi 2 e1 e2. Now we have to see what is the expression for E1, E2. So while discussing this problem, we have represented E1 tilde as E1 e raised to minus I omega 1t plus complex conjugate, and E2 tilde was written as E2 e raised to minus I omega 2t plus complex conjugate. And what is E1 and E2? This E1 and E2 will have only the spatial dependence. So E1 can be written as A1 e raised to I A1z, and E2 can be written as A2 e raised to I K2z. So hence what would be my P3? So the P3 will take the form 2 epsilon 0 chi 2 A1 A2. It become e raised to I K1 plus K2 times Z. So now we have got the expression for P3 and the expression for E3, and these equations. Okay, let us keep some number for this. Okay, this can be equation number 2 and this can be equation number 3. So equation number 2 and equation number 3, we can substitute to which equation? We can substitute to equation number 1. Then we will get our differential equation that we want. So 2 and 3 in equation number 1. So what will you get? So we have to write dou square E3 by dou Z square. Okay, better I will copy it. That would be easier one. So this is equation number 1, library. Okay, so what is the form of E3? The E3 takes the form A3 of Z e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. And what is the expression for P3? NL is equal to epsilon 0 chi1, sorry, not chi1 chi2, it is only chi2 to epsilon 0 chi2 a1 a2 e raised to I k1 plus k2z minus omega 3t. So these both E3 and P3 are the electric field and nonlinear polarization component of frequency omega 3. So we can substitute these two equations into the differential equation. So we have to first calculate what the second derivative of E3 with respect to Z. So we can do the first derivative first. So what would be dou E3 by dou Z? With dou A3 by dou Z e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t plus, then we can keep A3 as a constant, IK3 e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. Then we can do the second derivative similarly. So dou square E3 by dou Z square. So again we have to use the product rule in the first term and as well as in the second term. So we'll get dou square A3 by dou Z square e raised to I A3Z minus omega 3t plus dou A3 by dou Z IK3 e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. Then we can differentiate the second term. We'll get dou A3 by dou Z. Take the first derivative of A3. Keep all other things are constant. So I K3 e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. And the last term would be A3 of Z. We'll get two I K3s. So there will be minus K3 square e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. So that is would be the first term. And what about the second term, dou square E3 by dou T square? Dou square E3 by dou T square. So in E3 only we have e raised to minus I omega 3t as function of time. Okay, so only that term is depending on t. So if you take these two derivatives, you will get minus I omega 3 comes outside two times. So minus I omega 3 the square will become minus omega 3 square. So it is simply minus omega 3 square. We can write down all the remaining equations. Okay, I think shall we go for some other color in order to differentiate this? We go for green color. So dou square E3 by dou T square will give minus omega 3 square. Then we can write down all other thing. A3 of Z e raised to I K3Z minus omega 3t. And what about the right side? On the right side, we have dou square P3NL by dou T square is dou square P3NL. So if you differentiate with respect to time two times, then again what will get is minus I omega 3 will come outside. So dou square P3NL by dou T square, that would be simply equal to epsilon 0 chi2 A1 A2. You can write minus omega 3 square e raised to I K1 plus K2Z minus omega 3t. Okay, so I have written all the terms here. The second derivative of z, the second derivative of E3 with respect to t, and second derivative of the nonlinear polarization of omega 3 component with respect to t. And we can substitute everything in this differential equation, then we'll get our thing. And we can simplify the things before going to write it. So here, if you look, these two terms are same. So we can simply write as 2ik3 dou a3 by dou z. That can be done. And e raised to minus I omega 3t is common in all the term. So since it is the same throughout, throughout the term it is present, so it can be cancelled. So e raised to minus I omega 3 can be cancelled. Okay, so that way we can write down the differential equation. So the equation number 1 becomes equation number 1 becomes d square a3 by dz square. Okay, better we can use the full derivative because now a3 is only function of z, so there is no need to write the partial derivative. We can write down the full derivative itself. So d square a3 by dz square plus 2i a3 dA3 by dz minus k3 square a3 minus epsilon r1 of omega 3 times omega 3 square divided by c square times a3 equal minus 2 chi2 omega 3 square divided by c square a1 a2 e raised to I k1 plus k2 minus k3 times z. So this would be the entire differential equation. Okay, I made some certain simplifications here. I think you can follow it. There will not be much issue there. Yeah, okay, so I just skipped one step. Okay, anyhow, you can follow that. Now, what about this term k3 square a3 epsilon 1 epsilon r1 of omega 3 square by c square. Okay, so what is k3? K3 we can write omega 3 n3 by c. So this is what is the definition of omega k3. So the k3 square would give omega 3 square n3 square divided by c square, and we already found the form of n3 square. Okay, I think we have written here. Okay, n3 square would be epsilon r1 omega 3. It would be equal to omega 3 square epsilon r1 of omega 3 divided by c square. So k3 square is same as this. So therefore, okay, sorry, made a small mistake. This a3 I have taken as common outside. So this k3 square minus this term would become 0 because k3 square is same as this, and hence this term would be 0. So therefore, our differential equation takes much similar form now. D square a3 by dz square plus 2i a3 dA3 by dz equal minus 2 chi 2 omega 3 square divided by c square a1 a2 a raised to I k1 plus k2 minus k3 times z. Okay, now remember this a3 is the amplitude and a3 is only function of z. And recall that if the nonlinear polarization is not present, then a3 would be a constant. So if the medium is linear, then a3 would be a constant. If the medium is nonlinear, then a3 would be a function of z. But if the nonlinearity is a small function, then obviously this a3 must be a slowly varying function. Okay, so the a3 must be a slowly varying function. If a3 is a slowly varying function, then the second derivative of a3 would be much small compared to the first derivative of a3. Okay, so that implies d square a3 by dz square would be much lesser than a3 times dA3 by dz. So that would be much small. Okay, so I have introduced k3 here in order to make same dimension. Okay, otherwise there will be a problem of dimension. Okay, so therefore what we can do is we can neglect the second term. So we can neglect the second derivative of a3 compared to the first derivative of a3 because the a3 is a slowly varying function. So if you neglect this second term or if you neglect this second derivative, then it is called an approximation. So such approximation is known as slowly varying amplitude approximation. Okay. So we can neglect the second derivative of a3 compared with its first derivative. So this is an approximation. This approximation is known as slowly varying amplitude approximation. Okay, then what would be our differential equation? So this is our original differential equation. So in which we can just remove the second derivative term. Yeah, there is c square is missing here. Okay, so our differential equation become 2ik3 dA3 by dz. Okay, we can finally write dA3 by dz equal I times chi2 omega 3 square divided by k3c square a1 a2 e raised to I delta kz. So our delta k is given as k1 plus k2 minus k3. So this is the final differential equation. satisfied by the omega 3. Now, if you solve this differential equation, we can find out the amplitude of the some frequency generation, and from that we can compute the intensity of some frequency generation. Okay, so with this differential equation, so we have just started with the Maxwell's equation, or the wave equation of a nonlinear media inside the nonlinear media, and from that what we have done is it is possible to show the some frequency generation, and we can compute the amplitude of some frequency generation from the above differential equation. Okay, now in order to get a sufficient intensity and sufficient amplitude of the some frequency generation, there must be some condition, and those condition is called the phase matching condition. Okay, so that condition that we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so this you have to keep in your mind. So once you solve this differential equation, it is possible to get the amplitude of SFG, some frequency generation. Now similarly, you can follow the same procedure in order to calculate a difference frequency generation or the second harmonic generation, so on. Okay, so there will be some slight changes you have to make at some point. So which is where we have to make the changes. So actually we have to introduce the polarization component accordingly. So if you want to calculate the second harmonic, then you have to use the P3 as epsilon 0 chi 2 E1 square. So that is the difference. Okay, so here we have used this P of omega 1 omega 1 plus omega 2 as the frequency component, because we are discussing some frequency generation. So similarly we can use the difference frequency generation or the second harmonic generation, anything. So that is why this approach, the discussion that we have done now, is a general approach, general derivation, and you can change. You can use the same step, the same procedure to show the other phenomena, the differential equation for the other phenomena as well. Okay, so that's all it for the time being. Okay, so we can summarize what we have discussed till now. So we have started with the differential equation satisfied by some frequency, the frequency component En. Okay, so if you consider a process, a nonlinear process of some frequency generation, that is incidentally two different frequency omega 1 and omega 2, producing another frequency omega 3, which is omega 1 plus omega 2, then all these frequency component has to satisfy this differential equation. And why it is called coupled wave equation? Because if you write down the differential equation here, so finally the differential equation connecting A3, A1, A2. Okay, so if you look at here, the A3 is related with A1 and A2, and similarly you can derive the differential equation for A1 and A2 separately. So dA3, dA1 by A2 will depending upon A3 and A3 and A2. So the differential equation of A1, the amplitude of first one will depending upon A3 and A2, and so on. Okay, so that's all about the discussion of the some frequency generation or all other the nonlinear process using the method of the differential equation. Okay, now in the next class we'll be discussing how we can get a more efficient the conversion of the some frequency generation or any other processes. Okay, so that is related to the phase matching. So we'll discuss phase matching in next video. Bye.